Good morning, students. As in the first part of civics, chapter number 2, we have discussed people as resource. Under it, we have discussed the one small story about the Sakal, that how he educated himself and how he got the education, then the professional course he has done, and then how he got the job. Now we are continuing the same story in the chapter in the second part of the economics, that in the two case study we saw Sakal eager to study and went to school, but Virat did not show any interest. So there is a one story about Sakal, and now we are talking about another story of another boy whose name was Vilas. Vilas was one side, though we have seen that Sakal was such a studious, then he got the promotion and then he got so many opportunity as he give his education so much of importance. So the another story in the chapter of another boy, Vilas. Vilas was a 14-year-old boy. He too was a native of the same village as Sakal. Vilas was also lived in the same village where Sakal lived. His father Mahesh was a fisherman. His father passed away when he was only 2 years old. His mother's name was Geeta. She used to sell fish to earn money to feed the family. She used to buy fish from the pond and landowner and used to go to nearby mandi to sell it. She could manage to earn only 20 to 30 rupees a day by selling fish. Vilas became a patient of arthritis. His mother could not afford to take him to the doctor. He could not go to the school either. He had no interest in studies, but he helped his mother in cooking. He also took care of his younger brother Mohan. After some time, his mother fell sick and there was no one to take care of her. Also, there was no one in the family who could support them. Vilas too was forced to sell fish in the same village. He, like his mother, he on too did Myak income. So to see, you have seen that this is another story of the same village, and the boy is different. He is a 14 years boy, Vilas, who has lost his father, and now the mother used to earn money by labor work, and now Vilas is suffering from the arthritis. And when his mother fell ill, he was only the source who sell the fish in the market, and Vilas was not interested in the study also. So that Vilas himself become a burden. He was not using himself as a resource, as he was not interested in the studies. So in the same village, two different type of story. One is the story of Sakal, who was so studious, who was eager to study. That's why he economically become independent. While the other hand, the Vilas, who was not interested in study, he remained poor as before. Now, that in the two case studies, we saw Sakal was eager to study and went to school. But Vilas did not show any interest in study and did not go to any school. Sakal was physically strong and healthy. There was no need for him to visit to the doctor frequently. On the other hand, Vilas was a patient of arthritis. He did not have the enough money to visit the doctor. Sakal acquired a degree in computer programming and go to that basis got a job in private firm. And Vilas continued with the same work as his mother. He earned a very less or poor income like his mother to support the family. So in the case of Sakal, several years of education added to the quality of labor. Due to this, his total productivity got an enhancement. Total productivity adds to the growth of the economy. In turn, this pays an individual through salary or in some other form of his choice. On the other hand, Villa did not receive any education or health care in early part of his life. He spent his life selling fish like his mother. Henceforth, he earned the same income of unskilled labor as his mother. So that the meaning of the story, that if we will not continue our study, if we will not do work hard into to make ourselves as a resource, like Sakal has spent money on his study and he developed himself as a resource and he earned a good money and salary in the private firm. In the same way, that but The Vilas was not doing so. That's why he became a burden on himself, and he his story is totally different economically. His story is totally different from the Sakal. So, students, so in this case we can understand that investment in human resource through education and medical care can give high rates of return in the future. This investment in human resources is the same as investment in land and capital. A person invests in share and bonds on expectation that he would get higher return in the future. So the gist of the story is that Sakal spent money on his education, while the Vilas he just ignored the study, and he himself not developed as a resource. So as a human being, if we spending money on our education, on our training, it means we in future we will get its benefit. So one has to, human will be resource only when we use our potential, when we develop our education, when we get the good education and training program and the professional course to make ourselves, to transform ourselves as a resource rather than a human being. Only then you can say that human is the greatest resource on earth. Now we can continue. A child can yield a high return in the future in the form of high earning and greater contribution to the society if investment are made on her education and health. So education and health for us, for human, education as well as our health is also very important factor, so that we can survive as a resource in the society. It has been observed that educated parents invest more heavily on education of their children. This is because they have realized the importance and value of education for themselves. Such parents are also conscious of proper nutrition and hygiene. They accordingly take care of their children's requirements for education at school and good health. Thus, in this case, a virtuous cycle is formed. In contrast, disadvantaged parents who themselves are uneducated and lacking in hygiene keep their children in a similarity disadvantaged stage, and this create a vicious cycle. So moreover we can say that the parents who are educated themselves, who are very much conscious about their health, for them they same thing they repeat with their children, and the uneducated parents who are not so much aware, who are not think that education importance, hygiene and health, their children remain weak physically and mentally, and that's why they are not so much aware in their study also. There are several countries like Japan which have invested in human resource. Those countries did not have any natural resources, but these countries are developed, rich countries. They import the natural resources required in their country. Then how did they become rich and developed? This is a very good question. That if we see the case of Japan, it is a developed nation and India is a developing country. Even Japan is not having so much of natural resources like India, but still their economy is so high because they know that they have developed their citizen as a greatest resource. These countries have invested in human resource, especially in area of education and health. These people have made efficient use of other resources such as land and capital. Efficiency and the technology evolved by people have made these countries rich and developed. So this is the reason that these countries are more efficient and developed. Now economic activities by men and women in the same village. We are talking about that in a village area, what are the main economic activity. There are many people who, like Vilas and Sakal, have been engaged in different activity. We have studied Vilas used to sell fish and Sakal got a job in the farm. All these different activities have been classified into three main sectors, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. Agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, pottery, farming, mining and quarrying are included in the primary sector. The secondary sector is concerned with manufacturing. The tertiary sector includes trades, transport, communication, banking, education, health, tourism, services, insurance, etc. Production of goods and services are the results of the activities of this sector. These activities add value to the national income. These activities are called economic activity. Various economic activities are also termed as a market activities. Market activities involve remuneration to anyone who performed, that is activity performed for pay or profit. Production of goods or services including government services including in these activity. The production of self consumption are non market activity. What is the non market activity? The production for self consumption. These can be consumption and processing of primary product and own account production of fixed assets. Now there is a division of labor between men and women in the family due to the historical and cultural reason. We are talking about the same village. Women generally take care of domestic chores while men work in the fields. Mother of Sakal, Sheila, cooks food, cleans utensils, washes clothes, cleans the house and take care of the children. Father of Sakal, Bhuta, cultivates the field, sells the produce in the market and earns money for the family. No salary or no payment is given to Sheila for the services delivering for upbringing to the family. Bhuta earns money which he spends on rearing his family. No payment is made to women for their service rendered in the family. The household work done by women has no recognition in the national income. That whatever domestic work is performed by the female in the society, it hasn't got any recognition in the national income. Mother of Vilas, Geeta earned an income by selling fish. Thus, women are paid for their work when they enter the labor market. So, if the same domestic women enter in the market to do any labor work, then they can get the money. Their earning like that of their male counterpart is determined on the basis of education and skill. Education greatly helps individual to make better use of economic opportunity available before him. The major determinants of the earning of any individual in the market include education and skill. So, if the women are also educated and skillful, they can also having this job opportunity like men. Most of the women have meagre education and low skill information. They are paid low in comparison to men. Most women work at the places where job security is not there. Numerous activities pertaining to legal protection is meagre. Employment is the sector is characterized by irregular and low income. In this sector, there is an absence of basic facilities such as maternity leave, child care and other social security system. However, higher educated women and who have skill formation are paid at par with men. Among the organized sector, they are attracted mostly towards teaching and medicine. Some women have entered in the administrative and other services, including those which require high levels of scientific and technological service. Ask your sister to classmate what is his planning to take up a career. So that we are seeing that the picture in society that a female is not having so much high skill training and education. That's why they are limited. There are limited job opportunity for them, and that's why they are lagging behind comparatively men in terms of economic independence. Now, quality population, that when we start the chapter we talk about the population can be higher population can be used as a positive manner if we develop them as a resource. Basically, the quality of population depends on three things: the literacy rate, health of a person indicated by the life expectancy, and skill formation acquired by the people of the country. It is the quality of the population which ultimately decides the growth rate of country. For an economic illiterate and unhealthy population are a liability. What a beautiful line, that if the population, the people of a nation, if they are healthy mentally and physically, and if they are educated and skillful, they can be used as a growth factor for a nation, while the illiterate, the uneducated and the unhealthy people can be a burden on the country. On the other hand, literate and healthy population are an asset, while the educated and literate and the healthy population can be used as a resource for the nation. Now, education. We will forcing the point, the importance of education in our life. Sakal invested the initial years of his life in education and he reaped the fruits in the later years in terms of good job and salary. That first of all, so many years we have to spend in our education, quality education, training programs and professional courses. Then after some time we will be having the fruit, the results of our education in terms of a good job and salary. We have seen education was a very important input for the growth of Sakal. It opened new horizon for him, provided new aspiration and developed values of life. Not only for Sakal, education contributes a lot towards the growth of society. Also, it not only enhances the national income but also cultural richness and increases the efficiency of governance. A provision has been made for providing universal access, retention and quality in elementary education with special emphasis on girls. A provision has also been made to establish Navodaya Vidyalaya in each district. So, to promote the girls' education, the government of India has also provided Navodaya Vidyalaya, you can say, campaign and program in every district which support the girls' education at the minimum fee. Now, to equip large number of high school students with occupation linked to knowledge and skills, vocational streams have been developed. The plan outlay on education has enhanced from rates 151 crore in the first plan rates 43,825 crore in the 10th plan. The expenditure on education as percentage of GDP increased from 0.64% in 1951 to 52 to 3.98% in 2002 to 3. Now these are the estimate figure that how much government under the first year plan spend the money on the education of primary. Now the literacy rate in 1951 was 18%, which increased to 65%. Now we are talking about the literacy rate of India. In 2001, it has increased to 65%. Literacy is not only a right, it is also required if the citizens are to perform their duties and enjoy their right properly. However, there is a vast difference across different sections of population. Among males, the literacy is nearly 50% higher than females. It is about 50% higher in urban areas and in comparison to the rural area. Literacy rates greatly vary from 96% in some district of the Kerala to below 30% in some parts of the Madhya Pradesh. Over 5 lakh villages in India have been provided with the primary school system. Unfortunately, this huge expansion of school has been diluted by poor quality of schooling and high dropout rates. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is a significant step towards providing elementary education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years by 2010. It is a time-bound initiative of the central government in partnership with the states, the local government and the community for achieving the goal of universalization of elementary education. To increase the enrollment in elementary education, bridge courses and the back to school camps have also been initiated. To encourage attendance and retention of children and improve their nutritional status, midday meal scheme has been implemented. This policy could add to the literate population of India. So you can see that by these so many schemes, Yojana, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, the government, central as well as the state government collaborating with the various programs to promote the education to the every single citizen or boy and girl in India. So efforts have been made in the 10th plan to increase the enrollment in higher education of the 18 to 23. Now after that, higher education from the age of 18 to 23 years group students, they also initiated some program, the current 6% to 9% by the end of the plan period. The strategy focuses on increased access, quality adaptation of state specific curriculum, modification, vocalization and networking on the use of information technology. The plan also emphasizes on distant education, convergence of formal, non-formal, distant and IT education institutions. Over the last 50 years, the number of university and institutions of higher learning in specialized areas have been increased significantly. Let us go through the table to see the increase. Now we can see that how the government is expending so much of money on education of on primary education as well as the higher secondary education. Now we will talk about the health. The another significant issue, you can say point, is health. We will discuss in the next video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.